Okay, I want to try to go over these Trevino court docs with everybody really quick. I do see some misinterpretations of them and people looking at only one page of certain docs and not understanding all of it. So I want to make sure that we clarify all of that and just get the right information. So this is count one. Now, count one was the offense of welfare fraud and fraud securing of document execution. So as you can see, this right here says that comes now defendant and the counsel for the defendant and the state of Texas herein, and would show that the following plea bargain agreement has been entered into between the undersigned. The defendant will plead guilty to the offense of welfare fraud and fraud securing of document execution as charged in the indictment. So they've marked that there's fines imposed. It's going to be a general fine, which is going to be $500. It has marked community supervision, which is going to be 2 years. That's probation, right? And it's going to be marked as deferred adjudication. It says that community supervision is subject to all the terms and conditions set forth in the conditions of supervision. Further, the payment plan, as set forth in the conditions of supervision, is part of the plea bargain agreement as though fully contained herein. And we'll go over that. The judge may at any time during the period of community supervision, so probation, alter or modify the conditions as provided by law. So now on page 2 of this, the following special conditions apply. Community service of 120 hours as directed by the supervision office. And now it's checked module E, which is for theft. Now that we're going to clarify when I get to that page, because this is what people are getting wrong. And so we'll get there in a moment. Let's finish this page. Okay. Now the next part that is marked is under other provisions, and it says restitution. And that number is $16,799.95 is due jointly and severally with any co-defendants payable to Texas Health and Human Services Commission. Now, this paragraph here says that the defendant further waives the right to appeal, the right to file a motion for a new trial or an arrest of judgment, and the right to notice by mail of and time to object to the state's intent to destroy the evidence seized in this case, including biological material. If community supervision is granted, a defendant will pay court costs, restitution, attorney fees, and processing fees as contained in conditions of supervision, and defendant agrees that he or she has the ability to pay the financial obligations set forth in conditions of supervision. And this is signed. This is going to be the document that has the conditions of community supervision, which is basically all the conditions of probation. So it states the offense statute, PC 32.46, the offense is welfare fraud / fraud securing of document execution. The degree is a state jail felony. It says in accordance with authority conferred by the community supervision law of state of Texas, you have been placed on community supervision for a period of 2 years deferred by the judge of the 443rd Judicial District Court, Ellis County, Texas. It is the order of the court that you should comply with the following conditions of community supervision. So let's go over the probation terms. Number 1, commit no offense against the laws of this or any other state of the United States. Further, report to your community supervision officer, so your PO, okay, within 48 hours if arrested or questioned by any law enforcement officer. Number 2, avoid injurious or vicious habits. Abstain from the use of alcoholic beverages and any product containing alcohol, and do not use any illegal drug or controlled substance unless prescribed by a licensed physician for legitimate purposes. Provide proof of all current prescription medications to your supervision officer. And then number 3 is avoid persons or places of disreputable or harmful character, including but not limited to voluntarily associating with persons previously convicted of a crime, being present where a criminal act is being committed, and do not frequent or patronize any establishment where the primary source of income is through the sale of alcoholic beverages, included but not limited to bars, strip clubs, and liquor package stores. Number 4 is within 48 hours, report to the Ellis County CSCD located at the address and the phone number as directed by the court and our community supervision office. Obey all the rules and regulations of the said department. So you just got to check in with that PO within 48 hours. Number 5, permit the supervision officer or any peace officer to inspect and search your home, personal property, or place of business for any prohibited items or contraband in your home, property, vehicle, or place of business at any time. So that PO can show up anywhere and do a search. Number 6, work faithfully at suitable employment as far as possible and submit verification of said employment as directed. If instructed by your community supervision officer, participate in the job career placement program, report any changes in employment within 48 hours. So people are saying she will need to go get some other job. That's going to be completely up to the PO to determine if social media is acceptable. That's fine. So nobody can say what that means. If she has proof of income and can say this is what this is, and the PO is fine with that, then that's fine. Okay, that's up to the PO to determine what they're good with. Number 7 is remain in Ellis County, Texas, unless authorized to leave. Any travel over 100 miles out of said county will require written authorization. All overnight stays outside Ellis County must be pre-approved. Number 8 is support the dependents that you have now or that you acquire during the period of supervision. Comply with all court-ordered financial obligations, not limited to court-ordered child support, medical expenses, counseling, expense payments, and insurance requirements. Number 9 is pay a reimbursement fee of $60 per month to the Community Supervision Department on or before the 15th of each month, hereafter during the supervision in the month next following entry of this order. Number 10 is to make payments to the Ellis County Community Supervision and Corrections Department as follows. A is the court costs are $290. B is that restitution, which I mentioned previously, which is $16,799.95. Those are going to be broken down into payments. And that fine of $500 and a collection fee of $25. So we can see here the restitution fee is going to be broken down in the amount of $780 per month, beginning in the next month following entry of this order or the next following your release from jail and continuing until all court-ordered obligations are paid in full. The defendant acknowledges that she possesses the financial means and ability to make payments in accordance with the schedule. Now, number 11 says the defendant shall provide a copy of her filed federal income tax return each year to her assigned supervision officer. The defendant will be required to pay at least 50% of her federal income tax refund to the Ellis County Community Supervision and Corrections Department toward any delinquencies owed to the Community Supervision Department. Number 12 is submit to testing for alcohol or controlled substances, including the taking of one or more specimens of your breath or blood for the purpose of analysis to determine the alcohol concentration or presence of a controlled substance or rug if requested to do so by a peace officer investigating any intoxication offense. Number 13, submit to testing for rugs or alcohol as directed. Submit to any type of test requested by the Community Supervision Department supervising your case, but not limited to urine, hair, swab, sweat, and or breath at your own expense. Number 14, perform community service work as designated by the Community Supervision Department and approved by the court in the amount of 120 hours. The court determines that the performance of such service will work a hardship on the defendant or the defendant's dependents in the event defendant maintains full-time employment. Defendant is excused from such service during those periods of full-time employment as verified by the Community Service Department. In the event of unemployment, inability to verify employment, a defendant must perform community service at a rate of 24 hours per week. Number 16, submit to a psychological psychiatric evaluation and follow any recommendation made by said evaluation if directed to by the supervision officer. Number 17, avoid contact or communication with, and it's blank, but the victim of this offense, and do not go near any residence, business, school, or other location where the victim is known to frequent. But this is just the Department of Health and Human Services, so it's just a building. Number 18 is remain under custodial supervision and serve days, which means there's 0 days, in the Ellis County Wayne Detention Center. Beginning, you'll be credited with whatever. There's nothing because she's not going to serve any days right now in prison, so that's null and void. Number 19 is observe a curfew. Be home and remain home each night from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. or within 30 minutes of nighttime employment, whichever is later. Number 20, within 60 days, submit proof of high school education or GED certificate or enroll in adult basic education program as directed by your supervision officer and obtain a high school diploma or GED certificate within 1 year of the entry of this order. Number 21, submit your DNA sample to the Department of Public Safety under Government Code Chapter 411, Subchapter G for the purpose of establishing a DNA record under the direction of the Community Supervision Department and at your own expense. Number 22, you shall not possess any firearm, explosive devices, or muzzleloader in your home, vehicle, or place of business unless you obtain written permission from the court or your supervision officer. Number 23, comply with any other condition that your community supervision officer deems reasonably necessary for your rehabilitation or the protection of the victim or the community, which leaves it generally open for the PO to apply other rules or restrictions if they feel something else is needed or going on, along throughout these 2 years. It also says, in addition, you shall comply with and faithfully obey during the entire supervisory period the following special conditions of supervision as set forth in Module E. Okay, we're going to go over Module E here. And the following special condition. It says, you are hereby admonished that under the laws of this state, the court shall determine the terms and conditions of your community supervision and may, upon a finding that you have violated any of the terms and conditions stated above, revoke, modify, or amend the conditions of your community supervision. And then you sign that I acknowledge I've received a copy of this and the copy of the community supervision modules on the date. Let's go over these modules that people are misinterpreting. So they have a couple pages of community supervision modules, and all of these modules are just given, printed out. However, only Module E applies to Ashley's case. Module A, nothing here applies. None of these, okay? Nothing. Let's go to the next page. Module E, this is the one, theft, that applies. Do you see how it starred? And Ashley, that's the only part of these modules that applies. It says, number 1, within 30 days of this order, enroll in and thereafter successfully complete an anti-theft program. Participate in financial counseling as directed by the supervision officer, including submitting any necessary documentation such as bank, credit card statements, or bills for the purpose of participating in financial counseling. Number 3, do not go within 100 feet of the location of the offense. Again, the Health and Human Services Office. Nothing else on this page applies to this case. Nothing. And also, nothing else applies on this page to this case. This is a continuation of the, let's say, an intimate offense offender from the previous page. But this is just the signature page saying that the defendant is an attorney signing the Module E theft part. So people saying this, don't participate in social networking and minors, has nothing to do with this case, okay? Just want to make that clear. I get it can be confusing, but just if you want to see all 7 pages of the document, this is inclusive of all 7 pages, but only Module E applies. You got to read that part of the whole document. Now, if we look at count 2, a lot of it's pretty much just related to count 1. It basically is like see above, okay? But we'll quickly fly through this one. Again, this is saying that the defendant, the counsel of the defendant, and the state of Texas are showing a plea bargain agreement, and that the defendant will plead guilty to the offense of healthcare fraud and fraud securing of document execution as charged in the indictment. And then marked below, we have community supervision of 2 years, deferred adjudication, and that, again, they're subject to all the terms and conditions and the conditions of supervision. Count 2 has the same, it's just a repeat of the conditions of probation. The court costs here are zeroed out because the restitution's all accounted for within count 1. Again, it's noted here that the special condition is Module E theft. And see how they marked it here? Fine, restitution, and community service hours are assessed in count 1. See how they're connecting it? That's why I'm saying it's like, please see above. And again, they've defended further waives the right to appeal, et cetera, same as that previous document. This just specifies that $60 per month repayment, and versus that other one that was that over $700 per month payment. Again, we only have Module E marked, only the theft module. That's it, nothing else. You can see this is the continuation Module G. Do you see what it says? I'm not going to say it. That's where it was continuing from. That last page is not. This is simply the last signature page of count 2. Okay, that is all. Nothing on this page applies to this case. So that's everything. That's the document. I'd like to present to you the facts. So there's 2 years that everything needs to be followed through correctly, and goes from there. But yeah, those are the rules. Gotta follow those conditions. That's the most important part. And just please understand that Module E, that theft one, only applies. Do not look at that last page. It's just a signature page. If you want, on my post where I have the initial videos where I was just trying to get the documents out, within the comments, I do have all of the pages posted. You can feel free, and I have them numbered. Feel free to click on them, and you should be able to download them or screenshot. If you want to look at them closely or closer, go for it. Knock yourself out. But hopefully that clarifies things for anybody that's trying to understand it. So those are the documents. All right. Thank you so much for tuning into the Light True Crime. Make sure you stay safe, be kind to one another. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.